We're at our garage and test facility. Let's see what we're rolling out today. The all-new Kia K5, which used to be called the Optima. I guess they figured the K5 was a fancier name. Now this newer vehicle, we definitely have fancier styling. This is a very nice looking vehicle. And it's obvious they've been copying a lot of the styling from the upgraded Audi cars that we get from Germany, which of course costs a lot more money. Very sharp looking from the rear as well. By the way, I also tested this Kia Telluride, one of the nicest vehicles I've ever driven. We have a link for that video at the end of this video. Just go to the end, click and watch. If you want something smaller, the Kia Sorento is another one we did a video on. We'll have a link for that as well. And this vehicle's got a gigantic trunk, lots of room in there. And one of the first things we do when we get a vehicle is check and make sure there's a spare tire. Indeed there is. Lots of room under here too, room for more storage. And the second thing we do is take the headlights out in the dark and see how they work. Did that last night when it wasn't raining, so let's go straight to that clip. It's dark enough, let's see what these lights do. 3 bulbs on each side for a total of 6 for those who care. Here we have the brights on a wall 100 feet away, very bright. Go low beam. Bright, but way too low for my taste. Very low. Let's go to a longer distance and see what happens. And here we have the brights on a fence line 80 yards away, building 130 yards away behind it. Pretty good. Go low beam. Cuts off pretty short. Okay for city driving, but in backcountry roads, you'll need the brights. There are 2 engines available with the K5. The top of the line 2.5 liter, putting out a whopping 290 horsepower, is what I wanted. Instead, they sent me the 1.6 turbo, putting out 180 horsepower. But after looking at the fuel economy figures, maybe it's not a bad idea. They're pretty high. Here's the fuel economy rating of that little turbo engine. Pretty impressive if you can get it. And since we're looking at the window sticker, let's look at the price sheet that goes along with it. The price range of the K5 runs around $23,000 to $34,000. This one is the GT all-wheel drive. Lots of standard features. Reviewing this on a computer screen rather than paperwork, because all the paperwork is getting wet with this weather. Nice warranty. So there's our base starting price for the K5 GT with all-wheel drive. More standard features. Ooh, some options here. Well, let's just cut to the chase. 31 grand. And for those of you who want to buy American cars, here you go. Here's where it's made. Let's take a look at the cabin and the second row seating back here. Plenty of room. Map pockets on both seats. You'd be surprised at the number of vehicles that don't have this because manufacturers want to save a buck or two. We have the armrest that folds down with cup holders. I was hoping this would fold down too, so you would have access to the trunk for putting things like skis and long items through here, but apparently that's not going to happen. The rocker panel is under the door, a bit wider than I prefer. Your pant leg rubs up against this, you get dirt on your clothing. Although the upper portion seems to stay pretty clean. In fact, I've been driving in a lot of mud today and it's spotless, so not too bad. There's a lot of room in the glove box, even more if you take that owner's manual out and stick it in the trunk, preferably near the spare tire. And on the GT, we get a drive mode. Gives you smart, normal, sport, custom, and snow modes of driving. And this is a nice looking gauge cluster design, by the way. Controls on the steering wheel, decent size, easy to use. The climate controls are very simple to use as well. A Kia tradition, thank you. The infotainment screen is large enough and the rearview camera gives an excellent image. Very high quality. And no push button or dial shifter here. Just a simple traditional stick. And the vehicle can be shifted manually by pushing over to the left, up and down gears. For manual shifting, I was hoping for pedal shifters on the steering wheel, but I guess that's not going to happen. The controls for the heated seats and steering wheel are next to the drive mode button. And I've turned on the heated seats, and let me tell you, they're very, very strong. Heat your butt up in a hurry. The K5 GT has all the safety nanny driver assistance things that you might want, but I don't. Like driver attention warning that spies on you and decides you're not driving correct, gives you warning, the usual stuff. Fortunately, all this nonsense can be disconnected. Whether it stays disconnected when you shut the vehicle off, turn it back on, I haven't figured out yet, but the less the better in my book. I don't need any help driving by computer. If you do, you might like all this stuff. And there's lots of it here. Overall, the Koreans, Kia and its sister company Hyundai, make some of the best cabins in the industry, and I'm very impressed. The quality workmanship materials is great, and these seats are very comfortable. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but this does have all-wheel drive, which is going to come in handy on these wet roads today. So let's go out and do some driving. If you're watching this because you want to see what the fuel economy numbers are in the real world, here's a nice figure for you. This vehicle has been in the fleet for 4,398 miles. About a dozen different drivers, averaging 29.5 mpg. We don't know how they were driving, but in any case, I'll be taking this out on a freeway trip in a day or two, and we'll see if we can bump these numbers up even more. The power steering is very nice, quick responsive, good feedback. A bit lighter than I prefer, but no big deal. It's just a personal preference on my end. Overall, I rate it excellent, and I don't think there are going to be any complaints whatsoever from other drivers. As we do in all my videos, we're going to take some mild speed humps around 20 miles per hour and see how the suspension performs on impact. Bump number 1. Barely felt it, nothing serious. Number 2. Number 3. And the nasty one. And I felt that one, but not very seriously. Overall, this is a pretty smooth riding vehicle. Let's see how this all-wheel drive performs on these wet circles. Can we spin it out? Apparently not. Good to go. This isn't the most powerful motor I've ever used, but it does pretty good, especially when you put it in the sport mode. A good balance between power and economy. We're going to take this on a highway trip, see what type of fuel economy we can get. So away we go. Well, we were going on a highway trip. There's always an idiot out there who has to cause an accident because they don't know how to drive in the rain. 3 or 4 mile backup. Terrific. Well, that doesn't look good. Crunch! As a rule, I don't care for cars that have all-wheel drive, because I'm out in the desert. But if you live somewhere where it rains like this all the time, all-wheel drive is a handy thing to have. You need that traction. It's certainly helping in this weather. And you can get that in the K5 because I've got it in this K5. Another accident. People just don't know how to drive. Alright, we're coming to the end of the line, over 100 miles driven thus far. I'll pull over and see what the fuel economy figures are. Even with the crazy weather we're having, this is still a nice highway vehicle. It's reasonably quiet, has decent power. Lots of room for luggage, people, and gear. I don't have any complaints, really. Alright, 118 miles in 1 hour and 51 minutes, 28.8 mpg. I was doing 31 mpg, but slowing down for all those accidents. Knocked the number down a bit. And that's still pretty close to the average commuting of 29.4 and 4,544 miles of driving. So I think 28 to 31 mpg is going to be the official figure for this vehicle. By the way, for those of you paying attention, I'm not sure about the reading on this computer. If I went 4,544 miles in 11 hours and 33 minutes, that's an average of over 400 miles an hour, is it not? Am I missing something here? If so, make a comment in the comment section. This is all French to me. Since I'm making a return trip, I might as well put it on camera. Who knows, my miles per gallon might go up. And again, it might not. We'll know in about 100 miles or so. So don't go away. One thing I like about this K5, it doesn't have an auto-dimming mirror system, which I despise. Instead, it's a manually operated dimming mirror. Right now, it's off. I have full view of the vehicles, but if I want to dim the mirror, I just flick a switch with my finger. And now it's dimmed, but I have control over when I want it and don't want it. You can't do that with an auto-dimming mirror. This is far, far better. Alright, we're going to be pulling over soon in this trip, and this is strictly cruise control. Didn't have to slow down for any accidents, didn't have to pass anybody because there's very little traffic on the road. And I've noticed my gas tank hasn't moved very much. Have a lot more fuel than I was expecting. We might get a very good figure on this trip. Well, 37.7 mpg. Sometimes you just get good driving conditions and get a nice mpg figure. Must be true because I really should be on empty and got a lot of fuel left, a lot more than I should. So what's my take on this K5 after a week of driving? Well, obviously I wasn't too impressed with the low beam headlight performance. Whether that's normal or they're out of alignment, I don't know, but it can be corrected either way once you buy the car, so it's no big deal. Otherwise, this is an excellent car. I have no other complaints. Nice performance, great styling, decent fuel economy, excellent warranty. What's to complain about? Coming up here are some links to other vehicles we tested and did videos on. Just click and watch.